On our way to the mansion, we passed through a courtyard of sorts. When I lived here, the area was overgrown with weeds. Apparently they keep it in better condition in this era. Following Mel's lead, we head through the chapel entrance. Oh my. I'm at a loss for words when I see what lies on the other side of those all too familiar doors. While it was barely recognizable as a place of worship in my memory, just 2 columns of battered pews and some piles of rubble, the room I'm looking at now is unequivocally a chapel.
So this is what it used to look like.
I wonder how far back this is from when we lived.
It has to be more than a decade or 2. Maybe 100 years or more.
The views and beliefs about the world prevalent in our time are not so different than those of this time. Perhaps the chapel was destroyed in the aftermath of the Harvest Festival. When I was first sent to the mansion, there were signs that repairs had been attempted.
The stained glass window is behind the pulpit. I'm guessing, though we can't see it. Oh. The stained glass window is behind the pulpit, I'm guessing, though we can't see it from here.
Read that comma as a period. Classic. And right next to it is the door to the observation tower.
Ah, there she is. There's no priest here. She runs the church. You'll want to talk to her first if you're planning to participate in the Harvest Festival. I'll go fetch her for you.
Whisking his way between the pews, the boy disappears into the back of the chapel, returning with a nun in tow. When I see her, my face twists for a brief moment.
Good afternoon. You came to see the festival, I hear? It's wonderful to have you. Is that who I think it is?
I'm all but certain at this point that all the major players from behind the 3 doors are present here. Not just the 3 men whose shadows remain in the mansion, but also the women who are important parts of their lives. Though dressed differently, the way she speaks and the way she holds herself resembles the woman killed by her lover behind the 2nd door.
They're all connected. What we thought were 3 separate tales all stretch back to a single point in time before our own. Is there something the matter?
No, I was just thinking how unusual it is for one nun to be managing an entire church all by herself.
Ah yes, that's the usual reaction from new visitors. Even I think this assignment is a bit over my head.
Assignment?
Oh, well, I was at another church before this one. A smaller building, and I wasn't the only nun. But the Lord of the Land ordered me to transfer to a new, larger church he was opening, so here I am.
The Lord.
There's plenty of space on the property, more than enough to provide shelter for orphan children and aid for the sick.
It seems rather vacant from what I've seen.
Yes, about that. We used to take people in, but circumstances have made that difficult of late.
What kind of circumstances?
It's not something I can discuss with an outsider, sorry.
I'm guessing it has to do with Morgana's imprisonment here.
Do you think she knows about Morgana?
I would guess not. The men swore to keep it between the 3 of them.
So she's being forced to oversee the mansion completely oblivious of what's happening here.
Which isn't to say she's not connected to it in some way. If she's the girl from the second tale, then she should be close with...
Is something troubling you?
No, my apologies. I got lost in thought.
You don't look it, but you're actually a bit of a daydreamer, aren't you?
Daydreamer?
Mel would fit that description much better.
Mel would fit that description much better.
What? Why? Do I really look like that much of an airhead?
Sorry about my dog. He got surprised by my why, I'm guessing.
Ooh, I can see that. Someone has to watch out for him or he's likely to lose his head in the clouds. I really don't think I'm that spacey. I'm not trying to say you're spacey. I just feel like I've got to keep one eye on you at all times. It's a lot like what I imagine having a little brother would be like.
Remember in the second door how she wanted to be an older sister.
I am an oldest child, you know. What's the big deal? You don't want a big sister? Well, I want you to be my little brother. I don't want to just be a capital S sister to you. That's so stiff and formal. No, I want to be your sister. I'm a little old to be playing make-believe. Oh, come on.
They're quite friendly with one another, it would seem.
Oh, I know. Why don't you become her brother then?
What?
Will you?
I will not. Besides, I'm clearly the oldest one here.
Why not? I don't think it matters who's older than who. You don't really act all that old anyway.
I have at least 10 years on you.
Your youngest child insecurity showing.
Insecurity?
You two are pretty good friends, huh?
We can discuss the veracity of that claim later. I would like to ask you a favor. Again, sorry if I'm sounding a bit stuffy this episode. It's been a long-lasting cold. 'Tis the season.
What is it? I'll gladly help with anything I can.
Could I perhaps borrow a room until the day of the Harvest Festival? I don't have anywhere to stay. Or a source of income, for that matter. I know it would be taking advantage of your generosity, but I only mean to intrude for a few days. Ooh.
I would be more than happy to offer you a place to stay at any other time. But right now, I can't let you stay here. I'm so sorry.
Well, damn. So much for that.
Don't let one little no stop you. Keep pushing. Put on a show. Earn her sympathy. She's a lady of the cloth. If you make her feel bad for you, she'll offer you... That's really funny. If you make her feel bad for you, she'll offer you her aid.
Put on a show? You expect me to act? I'm having another episode, and I was so sure this church would be able to help.
That's not gonna convince anyone.
Quiet, you.
He was perfectly fine on our walk here.
Shut your mouth, boy.
As I said, we did once offer a place of respite for the ailing and needy, but regrettably, for the time being, we are unable to take anyone in. What I can do, though, is give you medicine. Since we can't let people stay here, with the Lord's generous assistance, we've been handing out medicine instead.
So all you do here, then, is give people medication?
Yes, I suppose that's what it boils down to. I'm honestly not sure why we're not allowed to offer shelter right now, but we are still able to provide assistance to those in need, so I assume it's just a temporary measure and we'll be able to take people in again before long. And with how much he's done for the church, it's not really my place to complain about his decisions. I truly am sorry. I hope you understand. I'm supposed to ask for a tithe in exchange normally, but just this once, it's yours, free of charge.
Could you tell me more about this medicine, please?
It's called saint's blood, and it'll cure any disease.
Saint's blood?
It's not real blood, of course. That's just what it's called. It sure sounds divine, doesn't it?
No, that's not true.
Huh?
It is real blood.
What do you... Sorry to butt in. Do you mind if I bring him back to my room? I don't think I mentioned it, but he's an old friend of mine. We've got a lot of catching up to do. All right. Hey, come on, this way. Well, that sure got quite the reaction out of him. And now he's incredibly leery of you.
When she mentioned the blood, I couldn't stop myself. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, though. Mel doesn't say a word the entire way. His smile has retreated, and there's a hint of fear lurking beneath his now stony expression. I spent the trek through the mansion's corridors pondering how to answer the questions I know are coming. How to solve the problem I put myself in. We enter a bedroom, presumably his, and he closes the door behind us. I can see the distrust in his eyes as he glares at me.
I have to ask, who exactly are you? Why did you say that back there? That saint's blood is actual blood.
In response to his pressing, I tread carefully. We don't have much time, but it's in our best interest to tread carefully. There's too much we don't know yet. It would not be wise to make a rash decision. With him as tense and suspicious as he is right now, it won't be easy to get his key or persuade him to tell us how he ended up here. Furthermore, my experiences with the three shades tells me that if I'm not careful, I could be putting myself in unimaginable danger. A brief flash of what might have happened had I spoken too soon crosses my mind, sending a chill down my spine. If I want to get Mel on my side, I'm going to need something more, something decisive. Something that'll convince him he needs to come clean and set Morgana free. Regardless, being cautious isn't going to mean much if I can't get them to let us stay in the mansion. We need to be nearby to keep an eye on things, gather information. How to go about that, though?
Assuming he's not voluntarily involved, maybe all we have to do is ask for his help in setting Morgana free and he'll work with us. He'll work with us.
Perhaps. Being so direct will only invite more suspicion, but she is probably on the right track. When I met his shadow, it was burdened with great regret. My remark about the saint's blood was based on stories I once heard about a person whose blood was said to have healing properties.
Stories?
Maybe they haven't made it out this far, I don't know. But they tell of a girl born in a distant village, a saint and the daughter of God. I thought that perhaps the nun might be the saint spoken of in the stories, and I was hoping for the opportunity to see a miracle performed with my own eyes.
I have to say, you looked more angry than excited.
I didn't hide it very well, I guess. Maybe it appeared that way to you, but I've never had a very friendly face.
If you say so, as long as you're telling the truth.
I myself have to wonder, why did my remark seem to bother you so much?
What?
Is there something more to this saint's blood than you're telling me?
No.
Something that would make you want to get me alone and interrogate me?
There's nothing. I just, didn't want to scare anyone with all the talk of blood, since there's not actually any in it. And I didn't know about the stories, so. It's just medicine, I swear.
As you say.
It's got nothing to do with the saint in your stories.
To change the subject, could I ask you to convince the nun to allow me to stay here?
Huh? Weren't you listening? We can't take anyone in right now.
Which is why I'm asking for your recommendation. You live on the premises, don't you?
I'm more a supervisor of sorts.
Then you should have some say in the matter.
Why?
Until the Harvest Festival is all I'm asking.
Why not get a room at an inn? If you need money, I'll spare you some coin.
I must stay in this mansion.
But why?
Those are my instructions.
What?
You know the stained glass window in the chapel behind the pulpit? I was named after the archangel Michael depicted there. The angel came to see me in a vision, instructing me to watch over the festival here.
From where you were standing, you couldn't possibly have seen the window in that much detail. You couldn't. Oh, I get it. You've been to the church before, and you're just acting like you haven't.
There's a metal door off to the side, leading to an observation tower.
Yeah, you can see the tower from outside.
Inside is a long spiral staircase, not made of stone but wood. There's a single door at the top of the stairs.
How? What are you really here for? All that vision stuff is a lie.
I am not here to cause you any trouble. In fact, I am on your side.
You show up out of nowhere and expect me to believe your nonsense?
All I ask is for you to allow me to stay until the day of the festival. If you can do that for me, then I'll make you the promise I could not before. I have not forgotten your pleas for salvation. I know you want to be free.
Let me guess, you saw that in a vision too.
If you want to call it that, then you can.
I've never once asked for you to save me. You're mad. But, fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. If I say you're a friend, the Saintess should be willing to accommodate you. Wait, I already told you you were my friend, didn't I? Already told her you were my friend. I'll try and persuade her. I don't know what your deal is, but try not to cause any trouble, okay? For your own sake.
I won't.
Only until the festival. You're not getting another day out of me or her. And this isn't your home, so don't act like it is.
Of course. Thank you.
You know, I never did get your name.
It's Michel.
Ah, right. After the Archangel Michael. Just like you said. I've never really cared much for Michael, to be honest. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with his... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with the sword in his others. Oh my god, wow. Fucking up. Take 3. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with the sword in his other. He's not an angel of salvation. It's been an off day, I guess. Which I suppose is fitting for this section of the story, with how a certain boy is behaving. Out of curiosity, could you perhaps be... No, never mind. It's turned into a bit of a storage area, but there's an open room you can use. I'll show you the way.
I appreciate your courtesy. All new room in this mansion we've existed in the entire game. Well, this is just lovely. There are cracks in the ceiling and the walls peeling off. There is a bed at least, but it's coated in dust. This was a storeroom when I lived here, as I recall. I immediately related to this because I once was assigned a guest bed that was covered in dust, and I didn't want to be rude to the hosts because I don't think I knew them very well at the time. So I was just, and there was no lint roller, I don't think, and it was late, so I couldn't just get one from somewhere else or buy one. So I was like, oh, okay, this is my bed tonight. Sorry about the condition. I didn't choose a bad room for you on purpose, I promise. If you want to sleep somewhere more comfortable, you're not going to find that here. Not a problem. I'm grateful to have a room at all. If you say so. Well, I have work to do, so I should be on my way. I'll talk to the Saintess, as promised. I imagine she'll make supper for you at some point. But do keep your crazy talk to yourself around her. I'll make a note of it, thank you. See you. We made it work, somehow. Somehow. This song just is the definition of catching your breath, my god. It's a lot of pressure being under that much suspicion, huh? Heart was pounding the whole time. My heart was pounding the whole time. And that the Archangel Michael came to me in a vision stuff? I never expected you to go there. Why'd you tell him that anyway? Because I didn't think telling him I'm from the future and I need your help to change it would have gone over very well. Besides, those who yearn for redemption have a tendency to latch on to the spiritual. I thought taking advantage of that would work to our benefit.
You know, I bet you'd make a pretty good con artist, Michel.
I did what I thought was necessary.
I know. Besides, you have every intention of keeping your promise, don't you?
Whether or not Mel can be saved is up to him. I will lend him my hand, though.
Oh, you say it's all on him, but deep down you know you're on his side. We're complete strangers to this Mel, but I can't bring myself to think of him that way. We just met today, but it feels like reuniting with an old friend. He's the same old Mel.
And you were actually there, a part of his life, which I imagine makes the sentiment all the stronger.
You don't feel the same way?
I don't think of him as a total stranger, no. However... Nothing. I was about to say something incredibly cynical, but I caught myself.
What?
It's nothing, don't worry about it.
If you say so.
I was always the one with nothing to offer, powerless to be of anyone's help. So if anything's motivating me, it's not concern for the boy, but a desire to prove that someone like me can do something.
It didn't take much arm twisting to get him to give us a room, so who knows? Maybe he'll come over to our side easier than either of us expect.
Him giving us a room was not simply out of kindness. Keeping me nearby allows him to keep an eye on me. He doesn't trust me, but he also doesn't know enough about me to decide what to do yet. He needs time, and doing this gives him that time. If he decides keeping me around is not to his advantage, he will act accordingly.
Do you really think he'll do anything to hurt you? Mel's a kind boy, and, well, to be frank, I don't think he has the spine for it.
It's hard to say, but even if he doesn't, we still have the other two men to worry about. Nevertheless, his cooperation will undoubtedly be the easiest of the three to gain. We were fortunate to run into him first.
What makes you say that?
Did you ever have a chance to see the shadows trapped in the mansion?
Shadows? I might have. But around the time Hayden Rhodes passed away, I wasn't really there anymore. I stopped thinking, stopped trying to make sense of the things inhabiting the house. I had become merely another part of the cursed mansion.
I was only able to converse with them after I had reclaimed myself. I suppose, much like the rules differ between the realms of the living and the dead, so too do they differ for those who have lost their grip on reality. As I was searching for a way to get you out of the tower, I encountered and spoke with the three men's shadows. Of the three, Mel was the least threatening. He bears a great deal of regret. He yearns for someone to save him. I heard him muttering, "This isn't what I wanted." He doesn't want to be involved in this. Someone else is holding the reins. My first guess would be the Lord, but regardless, they are not equals in this endeavor.
If he wants out, then maybe he would have agreed to help if we told him we're here to save Morgana.
Carelessly revealing our hand at this stage did not seem wise. It would have never gotten to this point if it were so easy to stop. Wait, did I? Okay, yeah. Thought I misread something.
So I guess our first task is to earn Mel's trust.
Morgana's death is in 3 days. We have until then to get all 3 keys.
It won't be easy. I mean, we weren't even present in this world until today.
Exactly. We have no one to vouch for us. No one who even knows who we are. But we have knowledge. Quite a bit of it, in fact. We not only know what happens in this era, but you showed me their next lives as well. From that we can deduce how they might behave and to whom they have ties.
You're right, we do. We know things we should have no way of knowing. And we can use that knowledge to our advantage. Their various interpersonal relationships are where we can get our edge, I think. They each have their reasons for locking Morgana up, and if I'm right, they're doing it for other people. It's these powerful bonds driving them. Mel's driving force would be his sister, for instance.
Are they mere bonds? Or is it fate that ties them together? You're right. We should find an... You're right. We should find and talk to his sister. Mel is more likely to act if it's coming from her than us.
I agree. If his darling sister tells him to stop, he won't have any reason to continue his involvement.
Knowing how the first tale ended makes me slightly uncertain. But for now, we can work under the assumption that he does genuinely care for her.
What do you want to bet she's somewhere nearby? I mean...
Wait. Yes. She will be. It was her death that sparked the chaos on the day of the Harvest Festival.
Right, it was. No, you're exactly right. But what I was going to say is that people tend to keep those they care about most close by.
It would appear I have a bad tendency to focus too much on the facts. That was entirely unnecessary of me. Giselle did not need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry.
Huh? What for?
For being careless with my words. Inconsiderate.
No need to apologize for the truth. Besides, you and considerate are like oil and water.
And today, you're the fire to my oil. I can't tell if that's supposed to be a jab or like, I love you. You set my heart ablaze. It can be interpreted either way, I guess.
We have 3 days to stop this tragedy. Let's get to work.
Let's. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. If we can't find Mel, the nun might know.
Off we go.
As I step into the chapel, I see an old man waving to the nun as he heads for the door. The man is practically beaming, and judging by the vial in his hand, he's happy about more than simply having the chance to see her. Is that saint's blood? According to Morgana's account, a disease began spreading through the city at the Harvest Festival, eventually eradicating the population. In a time like this, where medical knowledge is so limited, a plague would be almost unstoppable, and the sight of so many people dying so quickly could appear to them the work of a demon or a curse.
We come from the future, so we know just how dangerous this is. But they have no idea.
Morgana described it as a tale that could only have taken place in that era of miracles and spirituality, and about that she couldn't be more right.
Could we maybe warn everyone against taking the medicine? I assume the sickness was caused by them ingesting blood at any rate. It's not medicine they're being given.
but bottled disease, like some sick joke. If we could convince them to stop taking Saint's blood, then maybe that would prevent the city from being destroyed. But the fact that it's being distributed in the house of the Lord and peddled as a miracle cure plays right into their deep-rooted spirituality. Would it even be possible to convince them otherwise? And besides, it's not them we came here to save, but... No, that's veering too far off our intended path. We need to find the truth and save Morgana's soul. Putting ourselves out like that is only going to get us unwanted attention, make people suspicious, and we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It's just, knowing what they're doing to themselves, I couldn't help but think that maybe there was something we could do. Especially considering how it all turns out.
I understand the sentiment. Or rather, I understand your reasoning. Bark, bark! But for me, Morgana takes priority over any of them. And you over everything. Releasing Morgana's soul should save yours as well, Giselle. If we can eliminate the mansion's darkness, then you won't have to be trapped as it's made. I have no interest in being the hero of the masses. Just a comedy of errors today. Let's go ask about Mel's sister then.
Okay.
I turn my gaze back toward the nun and find her kneeling in one of the pews. She bows her head and begins to whisper a prayer.
You know, part of me wishes that this version of Giselle that we are with for the 8th door was a bit more maid-like in the way she speaks. Like, it does feel a touch forced to me that she reverts fully to, like, her informal manner of speech that she used when she was alive. I think because she lived for unfathomably long as the maid, I do think some of that vocabulary should have, like, imprinted itself into her being forever. You know what I mean? Like, she can still make an effort to be more casual and, like, natural because, you know, she's now regained her humanity and is aware of what she's been through, her full journey. She's able to look back on it from a top-down perspective, but I do think, like, things like MK and, you know, that she's not like that mean old phony, like, I think that could have been toned down a little bit, is all I'm saying. Would have been interesting to read her as a combination of her two personas, is all I'm trying to say. There's no one else in the chapel. Now's the perfect time to ask. Hearing me approach, she falls silent and turns to face me, wearing her usual disarming smile. Hello, Michel. Mel was just here. He told me everything. Can't turn away a friend of Mel's now, can we? Sorry for turning you down earlier.
No worries. I did a poor job of explaining myself.
So, did you need something? Let me guess. Medicine?
No, I'm in perfectly good health.
I figured you were lying.
I can ask her about Saint's blood some other time. And while I have a number of questions about the man she's close with, too, right now, Mel's sister is priority. Are you familiar with Mel's younger sister? She has flaxen hair, much like him.
Oh, you mean Nellie? Are you her friend, too?
I would say we're more...
You're better off just saying you're friends.
Friends, yes.
What about her?
I would like to speak with her, and I was wondering if you might know where I could find her.
Nellie should be down at the cottage, I believe.
The cottage.
Yep, that's where I stay too. I don't sleep in the mansion itself.
So you don't live here, but only work here?
Right. For one, there are men who live here. The Lord likes to show up on occasion too, and we can't have a nun wandering around while he's here.
So you and Nellie live together then?
Yep, we have for about 6 months or so, ever since she and Mel showed up. I wanted to let her stay with her brother, but since this is technically church property, we have to keep the boys and girls separate.
I see.
I'm so glad to hear Nellie's got a friend, though.
What?
She's not from around here, so she doesn't have many acquaintances. And with how sick she can get, she doesn't spend much time outside. Which is a shame, because she's such a sweet little girl. I'm her friend, of course, but I've got responsibilities. I can only be around so often. So I'm sure she'd be delighted to have someone else to talk to.
It would be my pleasure. Could you, tell me the way to the cottage then?
Oh, sure. It's not that far from here. You go down.
Boom. 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 The directions I got from the nun lead me to a place I know from my own time. Sorry, I was checking something. It's the same building where the man who had been ordered to keep me under surveillance stayed. Sunlight seeps relentlessly through the trees, and I find myself having to look down at my feet as I follow the path. It's blindingly bright, painful.
How are you holding up, Michel?
I'll be all right. The sun's past its peak. In a few hours, it won't be nearly as bad.
Don't push yourself, okay? 무리 시나이데.
Okay. The trek is a reminder of just how inconvenient my body always was. And having this chance to experience being alive again comes with both the good parts and the bad. But now is hardly the time to complain about my sensitivity to the sun. Wow, a setting where they've done a day version and a night version without making a day for night version. It's not long before we reach a clearing, a small cottage surrounded... Oh, whoa, wait, what? Oh, okay. It's not long before we reach... Oh my god! Take 3 again. It's not long before we reach a clearing, a small cottage surrounded by a small garden coming into view. Too many smalls in that sentence. And crouching by a flower bed, picking flowers, is the flaxen-haired girl. Are you Nellie? Though several details of her appearance don't match my memory of her, she still has that distinct hair. It could be nobody else. This Nellie is considerably thinner and looks rather frail. The effects of her being ill, I presume.
Who are you?
My name is Michel. I have a few questions to ask you. Can we talk for a bit? I would have thought she'd have said something by now.
You're being way too blunt, Michel.
I love this Giselle face so much. It's just the perfect, like, you're a fucking idiot, man. Oh, it's so good.
You've gone and scared her.
What else was I supposed to say?
You have to approach slowly, carefully. Go on, give her a smile. A nice, soft smile.
Smile. I recently caught up on Severance, and this reminds me of the kind eyes. I forget that actor's name. I would know it if I heard it, but he's so good. The way he portrays both the innie and the outie so distinctly, it's unbelievable work. Enough gushing about unrelated things. I'm only here to talk. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile.
Wrong emphasis.
Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile. I can't even see it and I can still tell.
What did you expect? I can't just smile on demand.
Ah, it's a bad man. A bad man has come to kidnap me. Save me, dearest Mel, before this bad man does bad things to me.
Calm down, please. I'm not going to do anything to you.
Ah, don't get any closer. I know you're trying to do bad things to me.
I'm not going to do bad things to you. I couldn't even if I wanted to. That is so darkly hilarious. Oh my god.
Don't move or I'll call the guards on you.
Please, calm down. I mean you no harm, honestly.
That's what all bad men say.
No. Giselle, don't just watch. This would be a fantastic time for a little advice.
Got it. Maybe she'll calm down if you mention Mel.
That's really okay. That's just I did not do that justice.
Got it. Maybe she'll calm down if you mention Mel.
You're a genius. Perfect. I'm a friend of Mel's.
What?
He was telling me about you and how you wanted someone to talk to. He asked me to keep you company.
Mel asked you to come talk to me?
He did. Do you trust me now?
So that makes you his friend then?
As much as it pains me to admit it.
Michel? What on earth possessed you to say that?
Slip of the tongue.
You and him. Is that so?
That's a great face. So many great faces. Yes.
You're pretty old to be friends with my Mel. Are you really, really, really his friend?
Really?
Then prove it.
How so?
If you're really his friend, then you should be able to tell me all about him.
Why in God's name would you ever subject me to that?
Do you not like Mel, Michel?
That's not it. We're just incompatible.
Okay, here we go.
She has so many good faces.
First question. What does my Mel like most of all?
Theater. Oh, that's... I don't think it matters what I pick. I'll save just in case. The correct answer is obvious, but... What does she say if I say theater? Theater wouldn't even be widespread at this point, would it, in this part of the world?
He doesn't really like theater all that much. I adore it, but Mel always falls asleep. Romance especially just goes right over his head. Maybe in a couple of years he'll understand it.
Says his younger sister.
Second question. What kind of person is my Mel?
He's a spineless... I so want to say that. I don't think this is a fail state. Even though it's like the questions only the real friend of Mel would know, but... I'll say he's a sycophant, why not?
Does he really come off that way? I mean, sure, he is nice to everyone, but is that such a bad thing?
No, I was too harsh. You're right, he is a kind boy.
Yes, he is. He's a kind, sweet, wonderful man. The most princely man in all the land.
I get a very distinct feeling that kindness comes from somewhere more selfish than that.
Okay, final question. Describe what he looks like for me.
He's decently handsome. I'm far better looking. Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's not what I asked. You're just full of surprises today, aren't you, Michel?
It sounded funnier in my head.
I will admit, you do have a few things in common with Mel.
Such as?
He's not really all that masculine, and neither are you. You know, at least in appearance, you might make an okay prince. You don't sound very flattered.
Why would I be? She said I wasn't masculine.
Not everyone has to be big and beefy. I like you just the way you are, Michel.
I know you're trying to make me feel better, but you know what's like even more, what even adds to my love for Michel and Giselle's relationship, what adds an extra realistic layer to it, is that, like, Giselle's made clear that her type is like big beefy guys. You know, your Chris Hemsworths, your fucking Tom Hardys. And yet the love of her life does not at all fit that description. And there are like so many couples who I've met, who like have like strong appreciation for types that are not their partner, which is just a great like extra layer to add to Giselle's character and a nice attention to detail. Did I read this? I know you're trying to make me feel better, but...
Well, that's the last of my questions. You're not a complete stranger, it seems. Sure, why not? You can be my Mel's friend.
Why, thank you.
This is great. I was sure you were a bad man.
Why is it that the first impression everyone has of me is never that I'm someone decent?
Any friend of Mel's must be a good person. No, an amazing person.
That's quite the faith you have in him.
Why wouldn't I? He's my big brother.
That's some circular logic.
Is it just you? Is Mel not coming?
He's rather busy at the moment.
Oh, he always has something to take care of, that Mel. He's hardly given me any attention these past couple months. But that's okay, because today I've got you to keep me company.
Yes, you do. I can't stay long, though.
Alright, just until sundown then. You had something you wanted to ask me, didn't you? Well, if you're a good enough friend, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
And how do I go about that?
Talking. Lots and lots of talking. You have to keep me entertained.
You're asking far too much of me!
She's not asking much at all. She just wants to talk.
I can't do that joke. That's a very Japanese joke. I can't do that justice. Do you think someone who spent 13 years in isolation knows the first thing about holding a pleasant conversation?
Hey now, I was there for a year of that. I'll help you come up with topics, so go on. Do you not want to talk to me?
No, I do. I'm just not much of a conversationalist.
Okay, then instead of talking, you can sing. I've never seen a minstrel before, but I've always wanted to know what kinds of songs they sing. You've seen theater in this time, but not seen a minstrel? Odd. Will you show me?
I've never seen one myself either, but I have heard second-hand accounts of the songs of traveling jongleurs. I don't fucking know. Very well then, I'll teach you a song an old acquaintance of mine heard while traveling. Man, I'm glad I'm having an off day during this part of the story. The chaos sort of matches.
Wee, I can't wait! Wee, I can't wait!
I don't know. Here goes. The silence is deafening.
I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever heard someone sing so badly. Me neither. I'm flabbergasted.
Let's hear you try then.
That's enough singing for today. I don't want my ears to fall off.
What a vicious little girl.
I know, let's bake something.
Bake something.
Yep, come on inside. I made some nice jam earlier today, and I want to make it into a pretty little pie. You get to help me with that.
I'm not much of a...
Come on, get a move on. You either help or you don't get to be my friend.
As you wish.
This is not going to end well.